Here's a lightly paraphrased version of your script. I've kept the style, tone, and length the same, just adjusted the word order and phrasing a bit as requested. World War II was a global conflict that saw Germany, Italy, and Japan, collectively known as the Axis powers, go to war against Britain, the Soviet Union, the United States, and China, spanning the years 1939 to 1945. When Hitler rose to power in 1933, he took advantage of the worldwide economic depression that had followed the Wall Street crash, as well as widespread German bitterness over the humiliating Treaty of Versailles, which was signed after Germany's defeat in World War I. Proclaiming that Germans were a superior race in need of more living space, Lebensraum, Hitler began rearming the nation in violation of the Treaty of Versailles. Hoping to prevent war, France and Britain allowed Hitler to expand German territory without resistance. He first united Germany with Austria and then annexed the German-speaking Sudetenland region of Czechoslovakia before occupying the entire country. World War II officially began in Europe in September 1939 when Germany launched an invasion of Poland from the west, followed soon after by a Soviet invasion from the east. Britain and France responded by declaring war on Germany, though they initially refrained from major military action. In 1940, Germany invaded Denmark and Norway to secure access to iron supplies, then swiftly launched attacks on Belgium, the Netherlands, and France. These countries fell quickly by mid-1940, largely due to blitzkrieg tactics, a strategy of fast, overwhelming military assaults designed for rapid victories. The British Expeditionary Force was cornered at Dunkirk but managed to evacuate by sea back to Britain. Later that summer, in 1940, Germany shifted its focus to Britain, launching an air assault as the island was protected from sea invasion by the powerful Royal Navy. Though the German Luftwaffe heavily bombed London and other cities during the Blitz, it was unable to defeat Britain's Royal Air Force or break the nation's spirit. Meanwhile, Italy, under fascist dictator Mussolini and aligned with Germany, widened the conflict by invading parts of North Africa and unsuccessfully attempting to conquer Greece. In 1941, Germany and its Axis allies launched the largest surprise land invasion in history, Operation Barbarossa, against the Soviet Union. Behind the front lines, millions of Jews and communists were brutally murdered in extermination camps. Although Hitler initially achieved deep advances into the Soviet heartland, expecting a quick victory, the campaign became Germany's first major failure. The vast size of the USSR, poor infrastructure, harsh winters, and the Soviet scorched earth strategy turned the invasion into a slow war of attrition. Following the decisive battles of Stalingrad and Kursk in 1943, Germany was forced into a continual retreat. In the Pacific, Japan, seeking dominance in the region and resources for its rapidly growing population, had seized Manchuria from China in 1931. Then in December 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Up to that point, the U.S. had been aiding Britain and enforcing economic sanctions against Japan, but now officially joined the war against the Axis powers. Japan continued its aggressive expansion across Southeast Asia and the Pacific, committing horrific war crimes along the way. However, its momentum was halted in 1942 when the U.S. secured a pivotal victory at the Battle of Midway. In the same year, Germany and Italy suffered a major defeat at the hands of the British in the Battle of El Alamein in Egypt, marking a turning point in the North African campaign. By 1943, after Mussolini's regime collapsed and Allied forces landed in Sicily, Germany scrambled to take control of Italy, fearing it would fall to the Allies. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union, now allied with Britain and the U.S., slowly pushed German forces back through Eastern Europe. Then, in June 1944, American, British, and Canadian troops launched the D-Day invasion, the largest seaborne assault in history, on the Normandy coast, beginning the liberation of German-occupied France. At the same time, the Allies ramped up their strategic bombing of German cities. By May 1945, Allied forces had closed in on Germany from both the east and west. Following the Soviet capture of Berlin and Hitler's suicide, Germany surrendered. By spring 1945, Japan's empire had mostly collapsed, and Allied forces were nearing the Japanese mainland. After intense bombing campaigns and Japan's refusal to surrender, the U.S. dropped atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Coupled with the Soviet invasion of Manchuria, this led Japan to surrender in September 1945. World War II was the most widespread and deadliest conflict in human history, resulting in around 60 million deaths worldwide, many of them from the Soviet Union,